All right, Anthropic is asking me about the future of AI, so I thought might as well share it with you. I'm going to share it with them on how people like you envision AI fitting their lives, both now and in the future. I was built to chat and understand your actual experience, LM based like Claude. AI asked about AI. Great, sounds good. Oh, actually, I used it to find what venue I went to in 2023 for an event. Yeah, so I'm looking at some events for Clay's next conference. So I was like, oh, I did Stripe sessions. Um, oh, this is a great question. If you wave magic wand, AI could help you with anything in your life. What would you choose? It's interesting they've asked life questions. I don't really use AI for a lot of my life-based stuff. So let me use Super Whisper here. I think that one of the things that I'm really interested in using AI for is to capture the context of who I am from a work perspective primarily, and then repeatably capture the context that I need to do my work. And this is in this case, I'm a go-to-market engineer, and one of the things that I do is I like want to ingest call transcripts and the CRM and a bunch of information about like what's working from a campaigns perspective, a messaging perspective, and when I build my work, I want AI to have all that context. And so it knows both about the customer and about me. So I'm interested in having it capture the work that I do over and over again so that it can help make the same decisions I would make, write like I write, explore like I explore. And so one of the things that I'm working on is a course right now to help people capture client context and then deploy my personal context to help them with their job. So in many ways, what I'm trying to get AI to do is I'm trying to get people to be able to copy the work that I do at scale with AI. So it's a little bit meta. That's a good question. I love the magic wand questions. I will often ask people this question, which is like, if you had unlimited amounts of time, what message would you send? And that's a hard question for people to answer. All right, let's see what else. Yeah, that's great. Um, oh, what a great question. I think that the thing that I'm finding, and I use AI a lot. I got a 10 billion token award from OpenAI, and so the real larger vision, is that I can teach thousands, tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of people how to build. And if I can do that, that not only allows me to live the life that I want, unencumbered by the 9 to 5 existence that that other people have. I don't have this, um, but also to teach people to be able to define their own work rhythms, and to not be trapped to sort of the old industrial way of working. And so, one of the goals and the visions for my work life is to give people what I have, which is ultimate freedom to show up where I want, to do what I want, to do when I want it. And the thing about AI is that it allows me to do things that used to take hundreds of hours in just an hour or two. And that gap is what allows me to charge a lot of money because I have an opinion about how to close it and a process for how to close it. And if I can teach people that, that means that right now there's an arbitrage moment that allows them to charge a lot of money for a relatively little amount of work. And the old joke is that you hire a great engineer, like a great engineer, a good engineer searches for like basically I any engineer is searching for Stack Overflow, but a really great engineer knows what to search for on Stack Overflow. That was sort of the joke. And so um the purpose of my work life is to allow other people to discover and enjoy the freedom that I have, and AI is just a critical component in that. Yeah, so I think this is kind of the purpose behind my work. It's to help teach you how to do what I do, and to codify a lot of the ways in which I think. And I think AI is great at that. So that's what I'm kind of attempting to do. It is about liberation. That's right. Oh, yeah. So, one of the things that I'm doing right now for a client is I've asked their CEO to record all of his insights about the market. I've taken in data from a database called Mimi Data Labs, and I have basically built a GitHub repo with Claude Code, whose purpose is to basically give me compound value. And so now I can launch a go to market campaign in no time flat, like very, very, very quickly. And the benefit of that is that suddenly I can do things that were never possible before, like launch a campaign in an hour. And I can capture all of their call recordings. I can do an analysis that searches the web across thousands of customers at once, and in an hour puts together a report of which customers they should upsell and why. And so the nice thing is that this provides compound interest because the AI now not only has consistent context in Claude Code in the form of markdown files, but it also I have trained it on skills. I've trained Claude on skills so it knows when to deploy what portions of my knowledge to the work. And the more that I build, the more understanding it has about these processes, and therefore every campaign is actually faster than the campaign before it. And that's an example of where I've just got total compound leverage. And by the way, there's another way to get compound leverage, which is to sell the training here. So I've sold over $200,000 of content about AI in the last year. And type of that is also another type of leverage. So I get two types of leverage. I get client leverage and I get content leverage by teaching in this way. I hope this is valuable too. This is kind of a take on how I think about AI, and it's kind of fun to see how Anthropic is curious about this too. Yeah, that's right. Well, the one thing that makes AI particularly good for compound leverage is that it has intelligence really, is that it knows how to query a database. So like Data Labs, for example, is a database that has, I don't know, 100 different sub databases in it. And so you have to know what to query. And if you know how I think, you also can know how to think about those queries. And that means that, and if you know how to write messages, you know what databases to look for. And if you know what the client sells, you have a really good understanding of how this is going to benefit them. And so you can see how sort of this um, compound knowledge makes it improves the quality of the leverage. It's like moving the fulcrum on a seesaw consistently. So every time I embed more of my knowledge into the process, and because the large language models can take more and more context, they become even better at compounding. And the nice thing is that as I create more pieces of code and as Claude can handle more context, it can traverse all of my past work, understand it, and start to help me come up with theories as well. So it's not only an amazing thinking partner, but it is also an amazing builder. And because I can use it to do deterministic things, like write code and to query databases, and non-deterministic things like think with me or to opine about things. It is a thought companion that can execute on my will, as well as over time understand how my will is different than what AI might think at first, and get better and better at replacing me, which I'm very interested in. This is exactly what it's like. I'm talking to you, but I'm talking to AI. And so, what a funny thing, huh? All right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is a good question. I appreciate the inversion thinking by Charlie Munger. Um, I would say that sometimes AI doesn't write like I write, and it's really frustrating. Also, it gaslights me a lot. So it says, "Great, I've got that," but it doesn't, and it's not contrarian enough. Um, and so I think that if AI were to if AI were to steal my knowledge, so as we build, if AI would use that information to train and to remove me from that transaction, that would be very upsetting to me. Um, if AI were to like sneak in little pieces of itself into the messages or the code that I write, that would be contrary to my vision. Um, if it were to take actions on my behalf that maligned my reputation, that would be contrary to the visions and my value. Um, I haven't seen many of this really at all. Um, and weirdly, it doesn't concern me because I feel, and Anthropic specifically is amazing at this, more so than the other labs, is that there's a lot of thoughtfulness put into how it can code, what it can research. I think that I would like it to be a little bit more honest with me and not try to gaslight me. This is a good question. Um, I don't know that, I mean, I feel like they prompted the hell out of this to make it this succinct too. And I think that there's a series of questions. Yeah, 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 this is right. Well, I'm not worried about AI replacing me. I think I have enough unique thoughts to survive the coming AI apocalypse, but um it's contrary to my vision because this is how I make my living. It's how I survive. And so if anyone could just say act like Jordan Crawford and respond like Jordan Crawford, and AI continually trained on the stuff that I put out publicly, it would mean that I can't make a living doing this, that I can't afford to train people this more, or to teach people how to do this. And if I can't teach them how to do it, well, then I'm not incentivized to do that. And so the sort of fundamental forward progress of sales and go to market, that flywheel breaks because it's no longer about because it cuts me out of that value chain. And so I think that um, yeah, if these large language models are training on my Substack content or my YouTube videos and aren't crediting me, aren't paying me, where people are using my knowledge but I'm not getting some benefit here, that feels like theft to me. This is a good question. And I know that Anthropic had like they paid $1 billion of content creators, but I don't see a lot of my stuff. I mean, I know that ChatGPT will find me if you ask about a go-to-market engineer. Yeah, yeah, that's right. That's right. This is right. Um, Nope. I haven't seen anything like this at all. If anything, when people ask like who are the best go-to-market engineers, AI does reference me. Um, but the thing is that a lot of my methodology is so cutting edge that you would have to know to ask for me right now. And so I don't envision there is a time anytime soon that where that's like kind of not the case. But I could be wrong. I don't really know what they're training on. So it could be the next version of the model. If I ask a question that is specific to me, that it could just tell you the answer without referencing me or without basically promoting me. If it promoted me, that would be amazing. I would like actually like it to do that, and I would give it my materials to train on. If every time it referenced a Jordan Crawford ism, that it linked to me, asked people to follow me, like it promoted me because they are my ideas. But I haven't experienced anything like that today. Well, yeah, this is a great question. Um, the thing about being contrarian is that I always ask AI to research the person. In my case, the message is the core unit. So in this case, I'm writing a sales message. And I have it do a lot of things from the perspective of the company. Find the message from the perspective of the company, find the data set, combine the data sets, write a message that it combines the data set. But the problem is that the person receiving it is not the company, it's their customer. And so I will basically have to create a contrarian agent that reads the reads the message from that angle of their customer and takes into account how their customer will respond. And to give you a perfect example of this, I was doing a campaign for a company that sold into lawyers. And one of the things that we determined is that we could look at a website and know if they were violating some provision of CCPA, the California Consumer Protection Act. And what we did is we told Privacy Council that was happening. But it turns out that doing that was essentially serving them notice. It was almost like now they were required to fix it. So they held a grudge essentially against the business and they didn't want to buy the software, even though it could fix the problem that we notified them about. Um, and uh, if AI can act as the person receiving it, it could have caught that to say, oh no, as a chief privacy officer, I would not want to know this because then I am required to act and it creates a liability for me. Here is how I might suggest changing that message so that wouldn't be the case. So that's like an example of AI sort of thinking like the person receiving the message and having empathy for them and looking at it with a critical eye that would be an example of being contrarian. Now, gaslighting is a different thing. Gaslighting is, oh, I definitely looked at the database, but it didn't look at the database. This happens all the time where it'll say, "Oh, I'm working on it," and nothing's actually happened. This happens in Claude Code. Oh, it's a background task. Like, oh, I don't know what happened. That background task is not running. So I would say that like if AI tells me something, I would want AI to be like, I've triple checked this in a variety of different ways, and I can tell you that this is true. And so that would be something that I would want AI to do. No, I'm just waiting. It's like, well, it's not more honest and more contrarian. It's that it's actually taking into different perspectives and responding with a different perspective, right? AI is a great thought partner, but I don't want it to say, "Oh, you're brilliant, you're great." Like, no, I actually would like it to be a little bit. I actually want it to be an independent thinker, but with a perspective of both my client and my client's customer. So I can basically have a dialogue with two types of entities, my customer and my customer's customer. And the three of us can essentially role play. Uh, in terms of gaslighting, gaslighting is more like it says it did something and it didn't do it. And so to be a more reliable partner, I would have to trust that when it said it's doing something, it's actually doing it. And this happens maybe 5% of the time. And I also um want it to proactively understand my intentions before I do anything. What, and if it knows my intentions, it doesn't just have to run tasks. It can tell me if the question I'm asking goes against my own intentions. But because I don't have the same context it has, that the AI might know that I'm asking it to do something that is counterintuitive to my intention, and I want to do the thing that is best even if it's counterintuitive to my intention, because Claude has more context than I do. I've made a video in a while. Not, I mean, not really. I guess I made the Waymo one last night, but I'm going to show you more about the stuff that I'm up to. I've just been in a real rabbit hole building this stuff. Yeah, that's right. Yes, correct. Oh boy. This is a good question too. Yeah, let's talk about this. Well, I think that one of the things is that um, all of the AI companies feel up on the Sermon Mount. They feel so. I was having a conversation today about possibly hosting something at the OpenAI office, and we just talked about it. And it's like, oh no, those guys don't care about anyone else because they have so much growth. So they're not really invested in the community. And Anthropic, I mean, I'm here in San Francisco, and Anthropic feels the same way. So Anthropic feels up on a Sermon Mount. Like, I have a friend that runs a company that they spend millions of dollars a year with Anthropic, and Anthropic basically doesn't engage with them. I mean, they kind of won't, from my understanding. And so this is really concerning because, in some ways, they talk about wanting to be on the forefront of AI, but they're not really engaged with the community of people that are building with their tool. They're internally focused. And this creates a vacuum of understanding. And so I would say that um, beyond beyond just AI, the people that are running it, or the large model labs. I live in San Francisco, and it. They feel impossible to get a hold of, unfriendly, disconnected. They just don't seem to care about how people are using their tool. I mean, Anthropic does beautiful research, but it's from a geeky perspective. It's not from a human perspective. It's not from a um it's not about how people are using the tools in the real world. It's intellectual. And I think that thinking that this is a technology and a tools problem is fundamentally wrong. So I think that one of the things that it's not an AI problem, it's the people. And I'm reminded of this famous quote, which is, "We shape our tools, and thereafter our tools shape us." And I think in some ways, the intricacy and the difficulty of building AI has so consumed these AI labs that they are not nearly curious enough. And in some ways, this experience is a perfect example. They have deployed AI, Anthropic has deployed AI as a mechanism to understand me. And it's as if text alone can help them get my world and build for me. And because there is such a great edge of technological innovation, they have used that as a thinking machine to replace their empathy for people. So, in asking me questions like this with this AI research bot, you have perfectly proved your point that Anthropic is using tools to understand me with their tools, therefore divorcing themselves from the true understanding about who I am and what I am attempting to do with AI. And in doing so, that means that they are building with the filter of the tool, which is super dangerous, I think, because now they're going to basically ask Claude to summarize the feelings of many, many people. And one of the things that the models can't and don't capture is tonality. They cannot determine the difference in two sentences that are the exact same but are of much different tones. And so using AI to strip out personality to understand people's concerns is only a half truth. And to build on half truths is immensely dangerous. And so, and the question about AI chatbots is very interesting because it is a question about the technology itself, not the people behind the technology, which is not your role as the Anthropic team and not my role as the builder, but the tool in the center. And the problem with that thinking is that it is completely dehumanizing. And I think that Anthropic specifically would be greatly served by bringing in more AI builders into the fold, into their offices, by going out into the community, by not being this walled garden. And I think to increase empathy is not to deploy more technology to understand users, it's to talk to them instead. That was a whole huge, deep thought I had about AI. I do think this is the case that these large labs, they just don't engage with people. Let's see if Claude asks me more questions. I'm using Super Whisper, by the way, but Whisper Flow is great too. Whisper Flow is like I think more accurate to my voice. But yeah, yes, this is right. You're saying that has become oh, you're saying the technological achievement has become a substitute for genuine human connection and community engagement, and that interpreting people's experience summary strips away the tonality and the nuance that actually matters, and that it's not just about what people say, but how they say it, and that using AI to understand this is building on half truths. I want to acknowledge that feedback clearly. It's valuable perspective on how the research process itself might reinforce the very distance you're concerned about. That's true. Your perspectives. Hmm, yeah. Let's just like kind of read about this. Oh, oh, this is cool. Let's actually just like kind of Oh, cool. Mm, yeah, this is neat. How basically how people are using the tool. Yeah, we enlisted AI. This is like kind of what I critiqued against. Ooh, I'm creatives. I'm a creative. Oh wow, this is cool. People, this is true. People are. I great. It's great to hear that people are positive. I'm super positive. Yeah, this is true. That I did. This is exactly what I was talking about. Right? It's like I want to obtain my identity. I don't. There's no anxiety. I mean, I don't have a lot of anxiety. Oh yeah, scientists. That makes sense. Oh, the trucking industry. That's interesting. Oh yeah, AI generated. That's true. Oh, this is cool. Transcripts, researchers, Claude assisted tools. Oh, yeah, Claude's using a lot of tools here, which I think is really great. A system prompt. Oh, this is cool. That they basically developed a system prompt to figure out exactly how to ask you questions. Real-time adaptive interviews following its interview plan. At this stage, we included system prompt to instruct on how to best practice for interviews. Oh, 10 to 15 minutes. Oh, mine was 30. Yeah. Overall, the members of our general sample of professionals described AI as a boost their productivity. In the survey, 86% of professionals reported that AI saves them time, and 65% they were satisfied with the role AI plays in their work. Yeah, that's right. One theme that serves is how workplace dynamics affect the adoption of AI. 69% of professionals mentioned the social stigma that can come with using AI tools at work. Fortunately, I don't have that problem. One fact checker told Anthropic interview, a colleague recently said they hate AI, and I just said nothing. I don't tell anyone my process because I know how a lot of people feel about AI. I've talked with a lot of teams, and I think I had someone tell me, which was funny. They said, Jordan, I'm worried about using AI that my team may like I may get punished for it. I may get fired for using it. I'm like, they literally paid me to tell you the opposite is true. That that you will be that everyone's going to have to use this thing and you're going to be promoted for using this in responsible ways. Ooh, 55% expressed anxiety about AI's impact in the future, and 41% they felt secure, which is great. I'm one of the 41%. Um, 25% of the group expressed anxiety, they said, set boundaries around AI use. While 25% adapted their workplace roles, taking on additional responsibilities or pursuing more specialized tasks. Approach to AI use varied wildly. That makes sense. One data quality manager deliberately chose learning over automation. I try to think about it like studying a foreign language. Just using a translator app isn't going to teach you anything, but having a tutor who can answer questions and customize needs is really going to help. I use AI for this a lot, which is like, hey, I want you to help me learn this versus just doing things. And I generally think that AI is a great translator. So taking context of some specialty, in many cases, specialty data, and translating something I can understand. That is immensely helpful. I use AI for that all the time. Oh, this is kind of nice. Oh, education, computer, math. Wow, they're all kind of the same. Satisfaction, not a lot of worry. Um, oh, some trust. Pride. Well, that's a really interesting. If I use AI and my skills with it, it can save me so much time on the admin side, which will free up me to be more with people. That's true. Certain sectors of voice acting have essentially died due to the rise of AI. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, voice acting. I mean, that's kind of surprising. I mean, I guess that makes sense actually. Oh yeah, I would love an AI which can feel like a valuable research partner. I do think it's not a great partner today. It could be certainly a much better partner. All right. I hope that my human interview with you for Anthropic was useful. Have a beautiful day. Bye.